John, what else am I missing? Oh, we have to talk about all of this stuff, and we haven't even gotten to the fact that the greatest clay court player of all time
Oh, him. Yeah.
might, yeah, gosh. Big news week. Mike, did you think that you come into like a whirlwind from someone not with a tennis background, all of a sudden there's like moving parts and hitting stories every week. It's like, I think it's you.
I mean, I think, the script writers worked out for us, we told them we were planning on launching this podcast and we needed some juice. But it's pretty amazing. I mean, it's sad to see, the tweet from Rafa, and that the sentiment is that his body won't let him. I mean, that's like the saddest thing to read from somebody so great that it has to be just crushing him on the inside.
I kind of always have thought also that like I've had this hope in the back of my mind that like he's going to get healthy, and he doesn't need to be healthy for 52 weeks. He needs to be healthy for 2 months, like, and just burn it, go all of it, take all the painkillers that you need to take, and let's go time. Let's do one more. And I always kind of thought we were going to have some version of that. Maybe not winning, but like imagine him winning a third round at Roland Garros, like a top 4 setter. The place falls apart. Like I want that for him. And similar to Roger retired at Laver Cup. He probably wouldn't say this out loud. Roger wanted to retire like a Wimbledon or US Open, and he wanted to play those. He wanted to do that. He wanted to say goodbye. And it happened in 3 days as opposed to 3 months, right? It feels like we're getting closer to that being reality for Rafa. When he was in Vegas, corners were tough. The biggest thing that I noticed, and it's a tougher thing to observe with Rafa because it's never been the thing that he hung his hat on, the serving was tough. The serving was bad. Action, pace, second serve wasn't kicking up and away. That's tough. The rumor is the back is the problem. We don't know that. We find out a lot of these things after the fact. How do you feel about this, John? It makes me like kind of sad.
Yeah, I don't know how. This is one of the great tragedies of sports, right? You don't get to author your own ending. And certainly Roger wasn't able to. You think about the way Serena went out, right? I mean, realistically, yes, it'd be great if she'd pulled a Pete Sampras and won the tournament. Short of that, she's in New York. She announces it's her final event. So there's all of this buildup. She hijacks week one. She pulls out a couple of great matches. And then that's about as good as you could hope for. This is not. I'm curious how you would game plan this, right? So Rafa goes to Australia, leaves Christmas Eve. He's feeling better. He's going to make this one final push. And he looks good for, a couple matches, not necessarily against the highest caliber player, but then he tweaks himself, has to pull out, and the exhibition notwithstanding, we really haven't seen him since. If you're Rafa right now, do you say it's been a great ride, my body ain't cooperating, here's my vote. Maybe he it's like Angel Reese. Maybe he does a Vogue first person like Serena did. But do you say, you know what, ball game? Do you try and play Rome and Madrid? You get to play in your home country one more time. It's clay, but you risk what happened in Australia, which is you tweak yourself and you can't play the major. Or do you go to the French Open without any build-up, without any sort of rhythm, without any match play on clay, and just say this is my last? I mean, it's really. It's a pretty brutal battery of options. But if you're Rafa right now and you're game planning this, what's your schedule look like?
I don't know because I can't feel what he's feeling. Obviously, you want that goodbye at Roland Garros. It would suck if he can't get that. I got to think every single, like if he's practicing but not serving well, I still got to think he's going to throw that out there in Roland Garros. If he can walk out there and at least play, even if it's not great. Like I get that in Monte Carlo, if I can't play 100%, I'm not playing. I guess I get it in Madrid. I get it in Rome. I don't think that line of thought holds water. He wants to say goodbye at the place that he's won at 14 times. I want that for him. But frankly, John, I don't think there's a plan. I think you're reacting to the situation, and that is frustrating as a player because we plan out our schedules a year in advance, right? And you can plan, I like this tournament, I don't like that tournament, this gives me the best chance of success, and you're pretty confident at a certain point in your career with what the best decision is regarding schedule. This wait and see situation, and Rafa's the kind of guy who needs matches, right? He's the guy, once he gets going, Novak can come out, traditionally has been able to come off not playing for 3 or 4 months and lock back in pretty quickly. Roger won the 2017 Aussie Open after not playing for 6 months, right? Goes in and beats 4 top 10 players or something like that, 3 or 4 top 10 players, and runs and beats Rafa in the final. Rafa, I was the same way. I needed matches. I needed reps. I couldn't just go play somewhere and look, and he's obviously way better than I am, but his game needs that rhythm. His footwork needs that cadence, that back and forth, that those little half steps, those half circles to let the forehand fly. He doesn't get the free points on a serve. He needs to be sharp. He needs matches. I've been holding out the conversation for like, okay, how is he going to be competitive at Roland Garros? And now I think I'm at the point where like, how is he going to play at Roland Garros? Right. And it's in all of our sadness, we do need to realize I didn't think he was going to make it past 30 years old with the way he plays. Like I saw him at 17 and 18 and 19. I'm like, there's no way that this guy plays with this physicality and the mental focus that he has in every point. It's weird to feel sad about. It's like feeling sad about someone living to 107 and then passing away. Like you got to give credit for a hell of a run. I still want him to have that storybook ending. But frankly, he's played longer than I ever thought he would. I didn't see him winning 2 slams in 2022, being undefeated through like not using a Grand Slam match until Wimbledon and then having to pull out. Like, and that's kind of where it started kind of spiraling a little bit. But hell, man, if you would have told me 10 years ago that Rafa's still trying to play Roland Garros at 37, that's a win. Not in a small sample size, but in a macro 30,000 foot view, that's a win.
If you had told Rafa that at age 37 he would be trying to play Roland Garros, I think he would have signed up for that as well. So no, I mean, at some level it's heartbreaking, and this is not the way the great ones are supposed to go out. And you just imagine if in fact this is his last event, he comes in, he's won this thing 8,000 times, and now not only is he playing with 0 match play and this fragile, unpredictable, erratic physical condition, but also knowing the knowledge that this is it. It is his child's going to be there and his wife, and everybody's going to go wondering if this is it. I mean, what a burden. But I like the big picture you've taken, which is he missed the Olympics in 2012 in London. And the rumors were finally time has caught up to him. And you play that full bore style, and Roger's a sports car, and Rafa's an SUV. And this is the running back whose hips are giving out on him. And all of that sort of 3 yards in a cloud of dust tennis is finally catching up with him. That was 12 years ago. So the fact that he is still in the conversation closer to age 40 than he is to age 30, I think is a big win. Says a lot about his durability, his commitment. And, bodies give out. But boy, I mean, assuming he is in the draw, could you imagine? We talked about how Serena hijacked that first week of the US Open 2 years ago. Imagine the French Open with Rafa, everyone knowing it's his last event with his history there and this uncertainty. We always used to say Rafa could beat anyone at Roland Garros at 60%. He could serve underhand and still get to the semifinals. Well, we may get a vivid, we may get a sample of that this year. But it's going to be a very interesting French Open in about 6 weeks.
Listen, if I could give him my healthy back to use for a couple weeks, I would. That would be great theater. I used to hope he would make this magical run and have a look at the basket, because I do believe I'm one of those people when healthy, I wouldn't bet against him there. But it's a big if at this point, and it's becoming a bigger if by the week, unfortunately. I hope we get that moment, for him to have at Roland Garros, the place where not a lot of active athletes walk past their own statue to get into the venue. I can't really think of any, actually. And Rafa, good, because we shouldn't wait until we're all old and crappy before we have to walk by his statue. I think they did the right thing. But hopefully he takes that walk past himself onto Chatrier again. Hope it happens. JW, lots of good stuff this week. Thank you for the education. Don't do anything I wouldn't do in Amsterdam.
Biking. Always wear a helmet.
Wear a helmet. Wear a helmet.
Wear a helmet, boys. Always a pleasure. Next week we're going to talk. We got some match results, players shooting up the rankings. Give Danielle Collins her due. But yeah, this was a big political week here.
Well, I'll tell you. Next week we'll give a little preview. We have a strong verbal commitment from Bob and Mike Bryan next week. Speaking of the greats of the all time, and they've promised me, because they're great. They've been like a Double Mint commercial forever, like always smiling, always nice, doing their thing for tennis. Behind closed doors, like their stories of when they fight with each other. Oh, if they tell those stories, there are going to be some knees buckled. I'll tell you that next week. And I've talked with Bob, and he said he promises to let it rip. If they go full let it rip, Tater Chip might be our best show that we've ever had.
Just the safest San Jose. Get them going on what happened when they played together once in San Jose. They almost had to. The first ever very near default on account of sibling punch up.
No. There's a Wimbledon one. I'm not going to bury the lead. They won a match. Bob came home and they play music. Put his foot right through the middle of Mike's guitar.
Oh, right.
And then I guess apparently I didn't know this when they told this. They were generous enough to come to Charlotte and do an event for a foundation, but apparently one of them knocked the other one out like recently, like before they retired in Australia, but like the camera didn't get it. So like literally one got knocked out. Anyway, I hope they tell all these stories. I'm going to put them up to it. I'm going to call them out if they don't. I might just kick them off if they don't, because it is phenomenal. But teammates of mine all through my career, great guys. But I think we have Bob and Mike on next week, so that'll be fun. JW, thanks, man.
See you guys.